The people like me, we don't fucking play around. You know? You're gonna die. In the gut, so on. But I'm gonna choose to stab him in the, in the bicep. I stabbed one of your more hard to stab places. And I've done it so that you get it through your head that if you come at me, you're getting stabbed. You know? So that's me being nice to a big, strong guy. You know? Now they might go for, the grab. If they grab me, it's probably the dumbest thing you can do. I'm gonna tell you like this: never grab a man with a knife. And if you're gonna do it, jump on that knife hand. Now, if they did that, I might even let them. Motherfuckers. Might even let them. It's a bad idea, no matter how you look at it. Someone like me, quickly switch hands. And I can also fake the switch. I might even still hit you with the hand. Because when I fake the switch, you say, well, the threat's still here. You see what I'm saying? That's what that did. As soon as I popped you in the face, it really doesn't matter how much it hurt. Because you're going to close your eyes on impact. You're going to black out for a second on impact. And that little second, now before you even realize it, you might have snapped back into it at the last second. Oof! Stabbed in the fucking gut. You understand me? So it's very bad for anybody to fuck with me. Because I'm probably gonna kill him. And I might not even mean to kill him. I might mean just to cause him as much harm as I can to neutralize the threat. And if I feel that I have the opportunity to warn them and hurt them just a little without putting myself too much in danger. And I might even talk to them too. I might say, look, I could have killed you right there. I know it hurts. I know your bicep hurts. I know your leg hurts. I know your arm hurts, your forearm hurts. I know your wrist hurts, whatever. But you want to really ask yourself, do you really want to get stabbed somewhere else and try to hit me again? It's a bad idea. Don't do it. Don't fuck with me. Because I'm not a psychopath. I don't want to kill anybody. But I'm not going to let anybody get the best of me. And I'm not going to run from a war, from warfare. There's a difference between avoidance and running. Me being like, oh my God, he's going to hurt me, I'm going to run. Even if you have a gun, chances are I'm not going to run. In fact, let's just say it's happened and I didn't fucking run before. So it's like, it is what it is. And also, you don't know whether or not I have these on me or not. So I might just, and before you know it, I'm coming at you here. I might just have hit you in the head. It doesn't even stick in. But it bought me enough time. So let's go over that before. We'll call that step one. Step one, I punched both of them as they moved to make a move on me, right? Both in the face. Either I've connected with both, connected with one, or connected with either. But either way, they've reacted in one way or another. Okay, putting their arms up, whatever. So now I've attempted to, and I'll probably be successful, push one aside. So now that I can face one at a time. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the knife. Okay. So, do what you got to do. Okay, so let's go over what I did there. He's cold as a motherfucker. To make a long story short, AKA has their cronies saying bitch ass shit for them. What's going on with this, is people have teamed up just like a political party where they kind of, help their friends push their agenda. and AKA has teamed up with these people. And so they have atheists, you know, saying, oh, well, why don't you go try to take on a kickboxer and so on and so forth at a gym. And there just happens to be AKA, you know, that does kickboxing, one of the things they do at their gym. You know, American Kickboxing Academy. You know, I don't think that's a coincidence. You know, so this happened after I went back to, you know, the Atheism is Unstoppable or whatever, you know, his channel name is. You know, in the comments, you know, there was this guy from the UK, and, you know, I basically told him what I tell a lot of people, you know, money talks, you know, bullshit walks. You know, I'm the champ, money talks, you know. I put my own money out there, and they can't beat me. You know, all those guys know, AKA knows that anytime they want to fucking, you know, accept my challenge, they can do that. Jay chose to gang stalk me, hide behind white social norms, and help the people who are covertly drugging me, if you want to call it. Well, it's only covert in the sense that, you know, they're not openly admitting they're doing it. You know, they know that I know, and they know that there's no way I could be mistaken. I've pointed out many times, you know, I used to be an alcoholic. I quit May 6, 2009. I quit last year, you know, 2014, around September. I quit marijuana. So I know very well about drugs, you know, and how they affect people. You can't really fool someone, you know, who has a bachelor's degree in, you know, information technology, software engineering, when it comes to, you know, drugs. Someone like me that has been dealing with the streets, and so I'm educated, I'm insightful, I do my research, I get things done, I come to educated conclusions. I don't just make things up, you know. So this idea that, you know, these lowly dogs have magically fooled me, or, you know, that I'm magically mistaken, is just absolute nonsense. It's pretty much that simple. Yeah, you know, I think we all know, you know. I mean, when you're taking a shower in a bathroom that's sealed and steam fills up, you know, and somebody told you that, oh, that steam is in your head, you know, or somebody pepper sprayed you, and they said, well, that's in your head. Or you're at a protest where the protesters want to sue the pigs and nobody was recording. They said, no, we never tear gassed you, you know. I mean, it's just absolute nonsense, you know. So somebody sprayed fucking Raid in your room, you know, half fucking bottle or so, you know, would you be mistaken? I mean, how would you know? You'd know because your throat gets sore, you start coughing, you'd be miserable, you know, there'd be kind of this mist in the air. I mean, you couldn't be mistaken, you know? So their argument is going to have to be one of two things. Either they're going to claim that I'm making this up, you know, and that I don't think that it's going on, but I'm just saying that. Or two, that, you know, I'm schizophrenic, and I took the schizophrenic test. Of course, any test that is in my favor. So pay close attention to this. This is how these people work. Any tests that prove them wrong, they disregard. They discard them completely. Any tests that make them seem right, they put them out there. You know, these people only have to submit 2 tests, last time I checked, to the FDA and them before they, you know, are allowed to put their drugs out there. So they can take 200 tests, have them all show that their drugs mutate people and make them go insane and kill people and make people kill themselves, and then they find the 2 best tests and they submit those. You know, this is how they do. Don't be surprised when the people who do what they do what they do. And that's what they do. You know, they disregard all the most logical tests in favor of nonsense. You know, so no, I cannot respect AKA trying to get me in a roundabout fashion to take down my videos, pretending like they would magically help me or something, when we all know that they wouldn't. We all know that fucking, that's how these people work as well. They pretend to be on your side to get you to do something that they want you to do. They don't like that my Top Martial Artist Challenge is getting out there more and more. They don't like that over 100,000 people are aware of my Top Martial Artist Challenge. They don't like that I have hundreds of videos referencing my Top Martial Artist Challenge. Okay? They know that one day it's going to get out there, and there are going to be thousands and thousands, if not millions of people who believe me because I'm telling the truth. You know, they're going to say, look, this guy doesn't come off to me like a fucking liar. You know, this guy dedicated his life to this. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to stand up for what's right. He didn't have to fucking, this guy had a degree in software engineering. His 2 doctors, his parents, you know, that would have supported him if he didn't do this. You know, that would have helped him in his goals. His brother is a fucking software engineer too. you know? And he would have fucking made sure that he landed a good job. You know, why did this guy throw away almost a pretty much guaranteed future? You know? He wouldn't make this up. And we're going to act like the bunch of dogs in the Fabian society don't persecute people. You know, a bunch of neocon filth in the government. You know, the most profitable industry magically is moral. You know? I mean, the bankers are a bunch of Boy Scouts compared to Big Pharma. And we're going to act like they wouldn't do such a thing. They deal in gases, fumes, vapors, chemical sprays. I mean, even marijuana has vaporizers. You think that the weed industry would find a way to vaporize drugs, but magically a much more powerful, much more well-established, much more government-oriented, big government-oriented business, a much more oppressive business magically wouldn't find a way to gas and vapor, and vaporize, and put vapor and chemical fumes? I mean, come on. I'm pretty sure most of you aren't that fucking stupid to think that I made this up, and aren't that stupid to think that I'm mistaken. And they know that. They know that, do they really want to care what a bunch of retards think, a bunch of complete morons, When you're a great warrior, you want your respect from people who are honest and are smart, first and foremost. Everyone else is pretty much irrelevant. You think I'm going to care what fucking some, special ed fucking, no offense to special ed students, but what some special ed motherfucker thinks? You think I was going to care what some fat couch potato fucking thinks? You think I'm going to care about what some guy who only cares about his image thinks, or rather says, because they're intellectually dishonest, they're liars? Am I going to care what liars think? Am I going to care about what people who don't know anything about combat think? Am I going to care about what the government thinks, what the opposition view thinks? I mean, it's the same thing with them. They know that these videos are going to reach a lot of people, and among them are going to be the most honest people and the people who understand that I'm right. And those are the most intelligent people in society. So the most intelligent people in society are going to know that AKA are a bunch of bitches who hide behind social norms, who are exaggerating their worth. And they're siding with the New World Order because they don't like the fact that I'm taking away from whatever they have accomplished. So they have a few good UFC fighters, fine, And, it's not like, so you got to understand, okay? I'm a Cain Velasquez fan. I'm a Daniel Cormier fan. They're not my favorite UFC fighters, but, I'm fans of them. It's not like I'm fucking like a hater who's like, fuck these guys. I chose Cain Velasquez because I gave him his respect as the heavyweight champion, of the UFC at the time. Okay, when I personally challenged him on YouTube. Okay, it wasn't like I'm like, fuck you, and I think you're a bitch. The only times I really start talking about, these people are have diapers on or thongs and wrestling, is as soon as people try to compare me or try to downplay what, the relevance of my challenge. Skrilla speaks, money talks, So it's like, could I beat a gymnast at their sport? No. Does martial arts include flexibility? Yes. Could I beat an Olympic fucking runner, or a long distance runner at his sport? No. Does martial arts include wind? Yes. Especially since they're messing up my respiratory system. I've talked about that many times. Could I beat an Olympic, deadlifter or bench presser, at lifting weights? No. Does martial arts include strength? Yes. Could I beat, a fucking Olympic wrestler at wrestling? No. Does fighting sometimes include grappling? Yes. Those things have never been my argument. Could I beat people in UFC, with gloves and feet and, and a mat and nothing around to help, me face my enemy, the things to pick up, the things to bash their heads against or nothing like that. It'll be very difficult for me because I probably would lose at a UFC style fight. But is that the combat arts that I'm referring to? No. That's where sparring comes in. The combat skills you need after the combat skills of sparring. You have to outsmart your enemy. You have to be faster to him, beat him to the punch. And all these people who do all these joint locks and arm locks and arguably arm breaks, and that's up for debate really. To break someone's arm, and you heard it from me first, you really need it fully extended. You need the guy to do, you know, either to mess up with doing a slow straight punch or to catch his arm and have it fully extended, and then, you know, to break it at the elbow. If you can't do that, then what's going to happen is you're going to straighten it out, and he's going to stop it. He's going to, you know, he's not going to do anything. He might have a little sore arm, but it's the same thing. And the key here is being faster than someone. So, in order to beat somebody in a street fight, you know, there's certain skills you need. Now, just because you're faster doesn't mean you're going to beat them. Just because you're stronger doesn't mean you're going to beat them. Just because you have more reach, just because you have more wind, you know. So my philosophy has always been the same. You know, I'm going to kill them in probably less than 30 seconds. They might, well, I'm going to have done something that's going to result in their death in less than 30 seconds. It might take them a little while to bleed out, you know, but while they're bleeding out, I could pretty much be like this, you know. You know, like what the fuck are you going to do, you know? You know, and so on. So these guys, you know, they might have all kinds of great technique, you know, but can they tell you, you know, if I tell you I'm about to strike you right now, I could tell you I'm about to strike you right now. I'm going to strike you in fucking 3 seconds, okay? I could go as far to tell you when I'm going to strike you, and I could probably still kill you. Or am I going to strike you? Am I going to stab you in the eye? Am I going to stab you in the neck? Am I going to stab you in the fucking liver, the kidney, you know? You don't know, you know? You see what I'm saying? So this idea that if we're in a street fight where people have knives commonly, you know, if somebody wants to take my wallet, pulls out a knife, self-defense, right? He's like, give me your wallet. I'm like, come on, buddy. Are you really that fucking stupid? You're gonna come at me with a fucking knife, you know? I got one too, except for I'm gonna fucking kill you, okay? The guy comes at me with a gun, you know? See, it's right here. You know? Okay, good. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So it's self-defense, combat skills. Okay? Understand me? You understand me? So, what I'm concerned with is combat. Not archery, not fencing, but actual combat in a practical setting. And of course, if we took it to spears and shields, the same reason I would beat them at sparring is the same reason I would stab them with a spear first, you know. You understand me? We took it to the swords. You know, the same reason. It's that agility, the dexterity. You know, I come down, thing. You know, and so on and so forth. So when it comes to combat skills, you know, there's a reason why great martial artists with their hands and fists are also great martial artists with swords and knives and spears. So I say I'm the top martial artist at combat, self-defense, and sparring. I'm not saying I'm the top UFC fighter. I'm not saying I'm the strongest man in the world. I'm among the fastest martial artists, yes, almost certainly. But I'm not the fastest. But I could beat the fastest. And when you have someone as athletic as I am at my height, it's very rare. Very, very rare. You know? I'm more athletic than NBA basketball players. I know it's hard for you to grasp this. I'm almost out of time, so I can't really explain it. But, you know, well, I'm going to tell you this. Athletic in the sense that I have a great coordination that you can't really grasp. In order for me to do the things that I've done in my demonstration, well, I'm out of time. So I want you to ask yourselves, you know, why didn't they accept my challenge? You know, I asked somebody in the comments the other day, they said, well, that's easy because you would beat him. You know, not in those words. He said, you know, he asked the answer pretty much within 30 seconds. Usually I don't get that quick of a response. He said, they're not accepting it because you would beat them, you know. And especially when you put it on camera, you know, it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm a great warrior, you know. I've been doing this intensely, you know, for the last 5 years, especially, you know, intensely training Mantu arts. I looked at all martial arts and I said, what do I need to do specifically to reconnect with my ancestors? How, you know, what you know, what moves in these martial arts come from Africa? And it's very interesting how this works, because as I did that, and then I started looking up, later on I was looking up other African martial arts and so on, and I was pretty much right. A lot of the moves I found, a lot of these chops, I was like, yeah, you know, these Africans, they had this, you know, your hand is some, you know, resembles a spearhead, as if this is the shaft, right, and then this is the spearhead of the hand, you know, and it's that idea, you know. And so I was like, yeah, they would do that. You know, the machetes they use, they resemble the Chinese broadsword that I used, the smaller version, because the traditional Chinese broadsword is big, very big. You know, it's longer than that, you know, but then there's also shortened versions of it, and there's slightly skinnier versions of it, and there's variations of it. So, you know, I was like, yeah, they use something similar to this, you know, and since I've trained Kung Fu, I'm more comfortable with the Chinese broadsword, you know, and I looked at the samurai sword and said, yes, the samurai sword is very interesting, you know, but I could beat the samurai, you know, with the Chinese broadsword, for example, because it, you know, it boils down to timing, agility, you know, understanding of fighting arts. You know, they would start doing this and they go whoosh, you know, big old broad movement, and they try to bring it back and they'll be in trouble. You know, it's the same problem that the European swordsmen would have had with their broadsword. And then when you look at the fencers, you know, why would I beat the fencer? Well, because the fencer's sword, it's very fast. You know, it has its charm. You know, they like doing this little thing, and they like lunging in and so on and so forth. You know, they'll basically miss the lunge, and then I'd cut them off of the fucking head, you know. So it is what it is. If I start looking at all the weapons, what is the superior weapon? Well, one of the superior weapons is the Chinese broadsword, because it's like a machete and a sword all in one, with, you know, this first I almost want to say 3 or 4 inches, you know, on the other side of the blade is sharp, so I can get you going backwards too. You know, you don't see that in a lot of blades. A lot of blades are one-sided blades. It's the old saying, it's a double-edged sword. Well, this is a double-edged sword that has a blocking edge on the other side as well. You know, I said, okay, I can use this. You know, and then I see these wushu fighters, because I start thinking about what is the hardest person to beat at swordplay. You know, these wushu guys are pretty damn hard. You know, going in, doing all these things, you know, doing all this cool little stuff and whoop-de-whoop. You know, but what it boils down to is combat applications. You can be fast. You can have great form. You can put it in somebody's head that, hey, I don't want to go, you know, sword fight with this person. But when you actually step into the ring, now I'm not saying I'm the best at sword fighting, and it's not something I've really emphasized, because sword fighting is not relevant in today's society. You know, are we walking around with swords, you know, like a samurai or something, you know, like an old Chinese, you know, soldier or something, you know? No, we're not. So it boils down to these babies right here. If you want to be the top martial arts in self-defense, you have to understand knives. You have to understand bottles. You have to understand using things in your environment. You have to understand using blunt objects well as well. You have to, you know, it helps to understand nerves and, you know, pressure points. You know, you don't have to, but it helps. But most of all, to develop the techniques you need for self-defense and common combat forms, you know, you need to master sparring. This is key. It's absolute. There's nothing that comes close to it. You know, you have to truly understand how you can penetrate your enemy with a weapon before they can get to you. You know, you can't. You know, and when you have someone like me, You know, I'm sure you've all seen my blade videos. Can you imagine, okay? It's just 6 fucking throwing knives, and I have more. I have over 10 of them, you know? If I put this on, and I put this, and I wear this blade, you know? You don't understand the kind of onslaught, you know? You have to deal with someone who can throw the knives, and somebody who can fucking stab the knives. Well, you'll have people with 2 or 3 knives in them falling over, you know, have like 10 people fucking dead, just decimated, you know? And even with my impaired respiratory system from all the, you know, toxic drugs and fumes and vapors, you know, and gassing, you know, it's about timing as well, you know? If I'm fucking stabbing you up, it really doesn't matter when I get tired. You know, you're fucking dying, you know, I'm just kind of like, whew, yeah, that was a little bit of a workout. Yeah, there's 3 of you fucking looking like Swiss cheese, you know, looking like a pin cushion with tons of pins in them, and I'm just kind of sitting here, you know, catching my breath. The next person comes in. The next person also, he's thinking, you know, regardless how tired I think this guy is, do I really want to be the next fucking pin cushion? You know. So every once in a while, you might have someone who's brave and thinks I'm tired. He's tired. He's tired. It's coming, it's coming. No, I'm going to go with it. Yeah. Right into his fucking knee. Because when you stab, you go like, oh, like this, so his knees are sticking up. Bing! Yeah, that fucking hurts, doesn't it? You know? And trust me, you know, if you can stab this in your fucking knee, doesn't matter how much pump adrenaline you have going, you know, you're going to feel it. You know, you might not feel being shot when your adrenaline's going, but when a fat-ass blade is stuck into you, thump! You're like, fucking shit! You know? That's how it is. For you adrenaline junkies who don't think that is, well then how can people get fucked up in you see in boxing matches all the time? You start getting dizzy, boom! Their adrenaline didn't save them. There's a difference, you know? There's certain wounds that your adrenaline can't deal with and you can keep going. And there's others, you know, and then there's more direct blows that cause instant death, and so on. And once you understand all this stuff, you know, I remember growing up, I was in the, you know, my dad's office all the time. I'd always hear my mom talking about, you know, when you play, be careful with scissors and stuff like this. And I'd say, well, what can scissors do? And she'd start explaining, you know, and then I'd see, you know, photos of head trauma that my dad would show me. He's like, this what happened to this guy, this is what happened to this guy. And I'm thinking about this stuff as a little kid, like tripping out. But then later in life, I said, you know what? I'm very glad he showed me those things, because I know how to really, really hurt somebody. And I know, you know, based on what they showed me and what they told me, you know, and their fears based on their medical experience. Oh yeah. And then I seen charts everywhere, human skeleton with red and blue paint all over it. We used to have it for a long, long time. We don't have it anymore. Okay, somebody literally donated their body to science. It was a real fucking human skeleton. I'm like, that's interesting how this body works. Oh, that's interesting with these vital organs and these arteries that pump heart, you know, and the ones that are have more blood pumping through them, you know. It's interesting how the heart works. It's interesting how, you know, people get dizzy from different things. It's interesting. So I started looking into these things. And then I started looking at martial arts talking about these things, you know, reading about them. I had a subscription to Black Belt Magazine, Martial Art Magazine. Started listening to what they're saying, reading what they're saying. Started going to YouTube, you know, watching videos. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I started putting all my knowledge together. And I started truly understanding, you know what? Yeah. And of course I'd have, you know, whenever I got injured, I'd notice what hurts, of course. You know, I'd say, well, you know, yeah. Oh yeah. That will really slow down a motherfucker. You know? So everything started revolving around training to kill. You know, I dedicate this video to Berto. You know, a lot of fighters used to go to his house. A lot of people interested in MMA and UFC. You know, I want you to always remember. One day you might see my videos and might think, well, this guy, you know, I knew this guy. He's not that, blah, 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 blah. Remember when I pointed out that you train, you know, to fight, that these people train to fight, I train to kill. I'm talking combat skills. When I mean combat, I mean military combat skills. You know, as far as, you know, I'm a firm believer if you mean to cause me physical harm, then I'm going to fucking kill you. You know, if you confront me aggressively and you try to swing, you know, I'm gonna fucking stab. No, that wasn't a fucking good idea. Now was it? You understand me? I'm a firm believer. You know? That's what I call self-defense, you know? And so I read, you know, this article about this police officer who was getting beat up by this big black guy who was off duty in San Francisco. Huge black guy, huge. Because I seen his body getting carried away. Cop shot him in the head. And I thought to myself, well, you know, if I'm ever in a situation in court, I'm going to use that. You know, this person posed me, threatened serious bodily harm. You know, he was trying to cause me serious bodily harm. And so therefore, I'm allowed to defend myself. And as long as I open carry, I can carry a knife. In fact, last time I checked, you can even open carry a fucking gun, right? But people don't normally do it, so, you know, and also if they did, we're not talking martial arts anymore, we're talking gunplay. So, you know, as long as I limit it to weapons that martial artists use traditionally, you know, and, you know, it becomes combat skills. And as long as I limit it to weapons that we're allowed to carry or that are commonly found in the street, it becomes self-defense. So therefore, the sparring shows who's the best at combat skills and self-defense. Now you tell me this, you know, what is more manly? Training to fight in a sports arena, in a cage, or training to kill somebody? What is more tough? What is to be taken more seriously? What is more respectable? Now, once you finish telling me that, you tell me why I should respect any martial artist in America more than myself when I'm the top at combat and self-defense. And I've just thoroughly explained it in these 2 video clips in this video, exactly the relevance of sparring. And if you still don't get it, just like that, the atheists don't get a lot of things. And there's a thin line between, and I don't know what the fuck to tell you, because you're a moron. So to end this, I'm going to do some self-defense, you know, techniques to help you understand, you know, how things work. Okay, so I talked a lot about doubling up in the sense that, you know, you'll see a lot of people when they fight, they'll kind of have a boxer stance and they'll swing and they'll swing and they'll do combos. Okay, that's singling, you know. You'll see in a lot of movies, you know, you'll see when people are trying to show, you know, make it seem like they're a good fighter or they're a martial artist, or, you know, I've seen this a lot of Brad Pitt and all kinds of other movies, you know, Tom Cruise, where they're trying to come off as a good fighter. They'll double up, you know. This guy will try to swing on them and they'll quickly, boom, you know. And so, yeah. And the same thing goes, you know, in a knife fight, you know. Say someone confronts me, you know, and I think this is important. A lot of you accuse me of being some kind of psychopath or so on and so forth. You know, I'm sure you've heard sometimes people say, well, be careful, I do martial arts, you know. I personally wouldn't go that route. You know, not only do people not take it seriously, but, you know, oh, I do karate, be careful, you know, or, you know, that it also gives them an idea what you're going to do, okay? So, you know, I basically say, you know what, you know, first of all, I don't act in a very aggressive manner in public, you know. I respond to the threats. I show people I'm not afraid. I don't act aggressive. I don't walk around like, the fuck you looking at, punk? You know, pushing people. You know, I don't look for trouble. You know, when trouble comes to me, it's okay. You know, it's all right. So say there's 2 people, right? And then, you know, and they're like, aren't you that guy from the internet? Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. You know, I'm like, yes, I am. You know, well, you're not so tough now, are you? You know, I say, you know what, you know, I don't want any problems, but, you know, do what you got to do, you know. So let's go over that before. We'll call that step 1. Step 1, I punch both of them as, you know, they move to make a move on me, right? Both in the face. Either I've connected with both, connected with one, or connected with either. But either way, they've reacted in one way or another, okay? Putting their arms up, whatever. So now I've attempted to, and I'll probably be successful, push one aside. So now that, you know, I can face one at a time. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the knife. Okay? So, you know, do what you got to do. Okay, so let's go over what I did there. See, the first thing I did was I did something to buy myself more time to maneuver and to adjust to the situation. Then I decided, now that I have more time and I can go for my knife where I'm only having to deal with one person, you know, because when you go for your knife, let's face it, you're putting your guard down, at least with one hand. So then when I had it, I decided, you know what, now it doesn't matter what I do, you know, I can stab them up. You understand me? And so then there came a point where I stopped. I said, you know, I'm gonna give them a chance to leave. I've stabbed them many places. There's a chance they're gonna die. I've caused them serious bodily harm. You know, I don't necessarily have to kill them, you know, but I've caused them serious bodily harm. And if they keep coming, then I'm gonna fucking kill them. Okay? That's scenario number one. Scenario number two. An attacker, you know, pulls out a knife. He says, give me your wallet. You know? I said, well, I would give you my wallet, but there's a chance that you're a gang stalker, the government fucks with me, and I'm sick of them taking my shit, so I'm not gonna give it to you. And he goes, you know, so he pulls the knife closer, you know? Okay? So now I've sliced him across the neck. Pulled the knife out of the way, he went for a lunge, I sliced him across the neck. Okay? So now, you know, the person has an option just like the other two guys that I stabbed up, you know, in the other scenario. He can say, you know what, this is a bad idea, you know, and I also have the option to leave, you know. I slice you in the neck, you know, I'm going to start walking away. Now, if the guy follows me, oh, you done fucked up big time. Okay, so this is a different type of push-off. One thing I want you all to realize that there's different ways to block. I can block with the closed fist. I can push this way and block. I can block with the knife hand. They're coming in, so I strike in their wrist as they come in and push their hand away. Or slice down as they come in and dodge. So now I've cut their wrist. Okay? And so on and so forth. I can block with an open hand, which gives me an option to grab onto them, twist them around. Give me an option to grab onto them and control them a little bit. Okay? And so on and so forth. So, what it all boils down to is being smart, using moves that are readily, you know, that you can find everywhere on the internet, you know, and understanding what your enemy is like from his form, you know. When people see me, they see me standing this way, you know, I come off as a certain balanced type of fighter. So automatically, if I saw someone standing like this, you know, I think this person most likely, you know, first of all, I know that they're a thinking man, because if they're not a trained fighter, they're trying to give me that impression, so they thought about it in the first place. Okay, and if they are a trained fighter, then I know that, you know, I'm gonna have to step it up for this person. Okay, but of course it's not a problem because I'm the best, and it doesn't really matter how trained they are. You know, I say, well, you know, so that's what I'm always going to try to convince people. It's like, look, you know, whether or not you believe I can fight or not, I'm a tall black guy. I'm obviously in somewhat shape. You know, I'm not going to spell it out for him, but, you know, I'm going to try to give him a chance. You know, I'm going to say, look, you know, if they're a bigger guy, I'm like, look, buddy, you know, I'm like, look, you know, do what you got to do. You know, I'm not a coward. I'm not going to fucking run away. You know, if I'm running away from this situation, I might even say this. You know what? I'm not afraid of you. If I'm running away, it's because I just killed you and I don't want the cops to fucking catch me. You know? So the big guy might say, you know, he might think about it. He might start getting all swole on me. I'm like, look, you know, it's not looking good for you, buddy. You know, you're better off being a fucking short, skinny guy who's very agile. Because you're one big fucking pin cushion and this is one deadly fucking pin. You know? So he comes in, I might block, stab him in the fucking bicep. You know? Say, look, just to show him, you know? If you continue, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I could have stabbed you in the neck. I could have stabbed you in the fucking eye. I could have stabbed you in the throat. I could have stabbed you in the heart. I could have stabbed you in the chest. I could have stabbed you in the fucking stomach, in the gut, so on. But I'm gonna choose to stab him in the, in the bicep. I stabbed one of your more hard to stab places. And I've done it so that you get it through your head that if you come at me, you're getting stabbed. So that's me being nice to a big, strong guy. And they might go for, the grab. They grab me as probably the dumbest thing you can do. I'm going to tell you like this. Never grab a man with a knife. And if you're going to do it, jump on that knife hand. Now, if they did that, I might even let them, motherfuckers. Might even let them, It's a bad idea, no matter how you look at it. Someone like me, quickly switch hands. And I can also fake the switch, I might even still hit you with the hand. Because when I fake the switch, you say, well, the threat's still here. You see what I'm saying? That's what that did. As soon as I popped you in the face, it really doesn't matter how much it hurt. Because you're going to close your eyes on impact. You're going to black out for a second on impact. And that little second, now before you even realize it, you might have snapped back into it at the last second. Oof! Stabbed in the fucking gut. Understand me? So it's very bad for anybody to fuck with me. Because I'm probably gonna kill him. And I might not even mean to kill him. I might mean just to cause him as much harm as I can to neutralize the threat. And if I feel that I have the opportunity to warn them and hurt them just a little without putting myself too much in danger. And I might even talk to them too. I might say, look, I could have killed you right there. I know it hurts. I know your bicep hurts. I know your leg hurts. I know your arm hurts, your forearm hurts. I know your wrist hurts, whatever. But you want to really ask yourself, do you really want to get stabbed somewhere else and try to hit me again? It's a bad idea. Don't do it. Don't fuck with me. Because I'm not a psychopath. I don't want to kill anybody. But I'm not going to let anybody get the best of me. And I'm not going to run from a war, from warfare. There's a difference between avoidance and running. Me being like, oh my God, he's going to hurt me, I'm going to run. Even if you have a gun, chances are I'm not going to run. In fact, let's just say it's happened and I didn't fucking run before. So it's like, it is what it is. And also, you don't know whether or not I have these on me or not. So I might just, and before you know it, I'm coming at you here. I might just have hit you in the head. It doesn't even stick in. But it bought me enough time. Also, it's good to work the angles. Your enemy should never know what you're doing until it's too late or until there's nothing they can do about it. My enemy might know that I'm dying to stab him in the stomach. But if I've set up the situation, where they get hit and they're going to react. Now, the dumbest thing they can do is not react. If you get hit, if you get hit and you suspect that somebody's trying to kill you, you're going to want to back off and try to give yourself as much time to recover as possible. And that goes back to self-defense, If he's backing off, then I have a chance to talk to him again and say, look, I'm going to fucking kill you if you keep doing this. I'm sure you figured out by now that I'm fashioning you without even saying that. I'm just, all I'm really going to say is, look, if you keep doing this, I'm going to kill you. I'm sure the person has figured out that by what I've done the first time, that I'm not fucking bluffing, I'm not kidding. You're going to fucking die. It's like looking down the barrel of a fucking you know, Winchester 30-30, you know, it's a bad example, of a fucking Mossberg, okay? It's like, you know, I just, it's the equivalent to doing that. It's like, I mean, you can get killed if you wanted to get killed, you know, and that's what it is. I'm a strong believer in giving people who are making a mistake a chance, but also if somebody is trying to cause me physical harm, then I'm going to kill them. I'm not a little kid playing around. I only get older from here. I don't get younger. You know, if we were two kids fist fighting in the parking lot, you know, we were two teenagers in a high school meeting at the park, I'm not going to kill you. When I'm a fucking grown man and you're a grown man, I'm going to fucking kill you. You know, these are the streets. If you manage to knock me out by some fucking miracle, what's to say you're not going to stomp me to fucking death, or you're not going to kill me while I'm passed out? You know, as soon as you confront me in a physical, violent manner, you know, I have no guarantees that you're not going to fucking kill me. I have no guarantees that you're not going to cause me brain damage, that you're not going to cripple me. I'm going to fucking kill you. You know? If I think you're a fucking moron that really needs that chance, I'm going to give you that chance, you know? So I'm not a fucking bully. I'm not a psychopath. I'm a transcendent hero. I'm fighting for honor. I'm not fighting to pick on anybody. I'm not fighting for bragging rights. I'm fighting for fucking honor. A lot of people don't understand that. You know? The people like me, we don't fucking play around. You know? You're gonna die. And you should have known that before you confronted me. If you're somebody who's seen my videos, you should know that, hey, if I confront this guy in a violent way, I better give him fucking 10 paces and fucking shoot him, you know? Or I'm gonna fucking die. Anyway.